Was Marcos a dictator? To be a dictator, as I understand the term, necessitates the compulsory need for the president to dictate on whatever the community needs to do beyond the mandate of the law. It is a coercive form of government that centralized on the personal intent of the ruler, as he supplants the law by his own personal decisions, which are rather tyrannical. That is how I understands it. The thing is, how was Marcos a dictator? Did he dictate outside the mandate of the law? How could you prove it? For example, did he prevent free speech by a gagging order? Can you prove there was a gagging order? Did he prevent the practice of human rights? Can you prove it? Of course, your only reason is, there were records of martial law abuses such as torture, kidnapping, death, disappearances, the repression of press freedom, etc., and for such, you conclude it as sort of a form of tyrannical rule. But was it indeed? Was there evidence of a presidential mandate given to the military for executing it in his behalf? Did President Marcos order these human rights violations and allegedly repression of press freedom, if there was any? None. There was no proof of any executive mandate to materialize martial law abuses. Marcos was simply guilty of command responsibility, yet in the essence of truth, command responsibility isn't a ground for guilt. This is echoed about in the Bible, as it says, "The Son does not bear the sin of the Father, neither the Father bears the sin of the Son. The righteousness of one shall be upon himself, and the wickedness of one shall be upon himself also." Meaning, we are only accountable for our own personal wrongdoings, therefore on merits of godly truth. Marcos cannot be accountable of the wrongdoing of the military by command responsibility in things there was no executive mandates. It's as if God is saying, don't blame Marcos for the wrongdoing of his subordinates, because command responsibility in this sense is invalid and illegitimate. So how come he is a dictator if he never ruled by way of mandate to commit martial law abuses? He cannot be accountable as he didn't dictate it. It was simply by the military as per mysterious reasons. Note, mysterious reasons. They would say, there were thousands of human rights violations, martial law abuses as per historical records, and for a 20-year duration of it is quite suspicious if Marcos didn't have any participation, right? Yes, it looks like the leaning to believe is that for many, he must have been a useless president if he allowed the martial law abuses without having consented for it. So these anti-Marcos advocates rather rely on suspicion and make conclusion like, martial law abuses, injustices, etc. are product of a Marcos dictatorship because a 20-year duration that it persisted testifies for his guilt. The thing is, there is hole to the narrative. We were not there. We were not first-hand witnesses why the military behaved in such inhumanity. And much so, we do not know if there was indeed dictatorship, but simply speculating on grounds of these records that transpired like human rights abuses, etc. We do not know why for 20 years the injustice persisted, and was Marcos indeed a participant of these injustice. We were not privy of any direct link to connect Marcos to what people assumed as his dictatorship. We simply speculate. There was no record that he ordered these abuses, injustice and inhumanity. None. Therefore, to say that Marcos was a dictator to have committed martial law abuses is simply speculation, hunches or suspicion. Not a strong case to guarantee certainty, as in matters of personal guilt, it could be just the military's fault and not him. So why did the martial law abuses persist for 20 years without the president's participation? For that I can say, it's a mystery. The thing is, nothing proves that he dictated it. Did he prosecute suspected soldiers? How did he react to these issues? We don't know. So how is he a dictator, when we don't know much to what situation be like in that timetable of mysterious reality? Was he indeed a dictator? Simple. It's a mystery.